Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. This is going to be a video about this monumental card coming up on the weekend, the last Crescendo over in Saudi Arabia. What a fantastic card. I do agree with the general consensus that it is probably the best card that I've ever come across, and certainly one that all boxing fans and purists and casuals alike will respect and will view. Like I say, today's video we're going to go through just an off-the-cuff prediction of each and every fight. I'll do a slight breakdown and I'll just jump straight into prediction because I think that's what you're most interested in. I'll start off with, we've got Floyd Schofield taking on Shakur Stevenson. Don't know much about Floyd Schofield. From what I'm hearing, he looks in very good shape. He's a lot taller than a lot of people would have suggested via his box rec, and he's looking quite thick set at the weigh-in. So at the kind of opening day. So he's game, he's young, he's hungry, he's unbeaten. He might pose some threats to Shakur, but ultimately I think Shakur's skills will prevail. He's a defensive masterclass, isn't he? He's so hard to hit. He's a bit like a Floyd Mayweather in a way. He's got that shoulder roll, got that agility. He seems to just evade punches like it's nothing. I think we're probably going to see a bit of a kind of schooling on that front. I think from what I understand about both fighters, the way I can see it going, from my limited knowledge of Floyd Schofield, but albeit I've seen a few of his fights, the way I see it going is probably quite a wide scorecard decision to Shakur. I don't think he's going to play it too risky, although he's going to want to impress Turkey and ensure he solidifies future fights of that magnitude and of that pay scale. I think he's probably going to be a bit cautious that his man is, you know, unbeaten, dangerous, holds more power than him. So we're going to see a typical performance from Shakur, and I think it'll be a wide decision on the cards, not far off a shutout, and then he'll move on. And hopefully, eventually, if Gervonta and him can align their weights, we will see that mega fight. I would love to see it. I think that's ultimate attack versus ultimate defense, and to me, that is the fight that needs to be made amongst this time where we can make these fights. It needs to be ordered pretty quickly. I appreciate they're sort of going up and down in weights quite a lot nowadays to secure the money, but I think that's one we would all love to see. Let's look at, this is a stacked card. The first fight on the card, we've got Callum Smith versus Joshua Buatsi, which, to be fair, could probably sell out the O2, couldn't it? The O2 Stadium in London. My personal view on it is I would prefer to have seen it a couple of years ago. I think it would have boded better stylistically when Callum Smith was fighting at a higher level. He's only recently just fought a very sort of, I think it was maybe a 6-rounder, and that was before the bell, which is usually reserved for kind of up-and-coming prospects looking to fight journeymen or if they're new on the scene. So to be honest, I thought he may have even retired, but he's obviously decided to come back and have a crack at it. He's done everything. He's been in with the greats, Canelo, Beterbiev, always slightly fallen short, but no shame in that. Obviously, great win over George Groves years ago. I think he'll pose Buatsi some problems. He's obviously got the range, a bit more power compared to the likes of Willie Hutchinson. Similar in that he can box very well. He's more of a boxer puncher, isn't he? I'd say got a bit more sting on him. I just think we're going to see that time has taken its toll, and the activeness, although, to be honest, I've said this before, a very frustrating career with Buatsi. Originally, he was a hungry lion coming up, knocking everyone out, looked fantastic. You knew what you were getting. And then something happened. I'm not sure what it was. There was a change of promoters, all very sort of hush-hush behind the scene. And all of a sudden, he's sort of flattered to deceive as of late. Been in a few sort of tough fights, ones you think he should win quite clearly, and he struggled. Albeit lately he has improved, I think, quite a lot. He started to fight at the top, you know, European fringe to world level, which I think getting in with Spider Richards and Willie Hutchinson will give him the experience he needs to get the job done. I think he'll win on points. I think he'll stylistically be just a bit too quick, a bit too sharp for Callum Smith. I think he'll take it on points or possibly a late stoppage if he does get an opportunity. But kudos to both. I think it's a great fight, and to be the first on the card is just simply quite incredible. Obviously, after you've got the local two fighters from from Saudi that are going to be sort of opening the show. I think a couple of 6-rounders. Then you're going to jump into Callum Smith-Buatsi. We've also got Zhilei Zhang versus Ajit Kabayel next, which again, great fight. I think these are both, arguably, if you take Fury out the mix now, he's allegedly retired, probably in the top 6, 7, 8 fighters in the world, aren't they, in that division? So I think Ajit Kabayel, very underrated. I mean, I backed against him twice against Makhmudov. And again, who was it he fought in that next one? Just trying to rack my brains. He fought Makhmudov, and then he went in with Frank Sanchez, didn't he? So yeah, I backed against him twice because I didn't really know a lot about him. I knew he'd given a Chisora a good fight a few years back, and that was kind of my limited knowledge. And based on that, I just didn't think he'd have enough to beat either of the two. At the time, we thought Makhmudov was some sort of killer. Turns out he's gone on a bit of a bad run since and been found out since that fight. Bit like with Deontay Wilder, I think once you lose and people aren't as scared of you, that mental edge that they gain does often prove key, and then finding out the keys to beat you. So yeah, on that basis, I think this one's really tough to call. Probably one of the biggest 50-50 fights of the night. To be honest, they all are, aren't they? Apart from the Schofield-Stevenson fight. I think as long as Zhang doesn't manage to catch him early, which I think he will be able to evade Zhang's punches, then I see Kabayel winning on points late. I think he will obviously tire the older man. Zhang's big. He can't move as well as somebody like Kabayel. And I think stylistically it will look very similar to the Parker fight. I don't think Kabayel's in and out game is as good as Parker's, and I don't think he's as technically sound all round, but I think he's got enough in his left and his right hand to keep Zhang at bay. He might get, I think he's going to get knocked down, but I think he's going to get up and then also win on the scorecards, possibly a split decision, something like that. Zhang fights tend to be close, don't they, if they go to distance. Look at the one with Hrgovic. Everyone thought that he won that one. So yeah, another great fight. We got my fight of the night is Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. A lot of people going for Virgil in this one. The bookies have it really sort of split even. My personal view on it is I think, based off the Crawford fight and from what I've seen of Madrimov, he's thick set. He's got that Ukrainian sort of, or should I say European style that can prove quite troublesome. He's very tough, very durable. He's game. I think he might pull it off, and I think he'll pull it off via stoppage late. I just think that Virgil Ortiz Jr. will be a great fighter, probably one of the best prospects coming through over the last few years, and obviously has that power. He's knocked everyone out, but one in his last fight was the Ukrainian chap, wasn't it? I can't remember his name, but yeah, who ironically, Boyachuk, I think his name is, and that was obviously who Madrimov was going to fight previously on the last card, but ended up taking the British fighter instead. Boyachuk, I think, had to pull out. Boyachuk for Madrimov had to pull out due to injury. I say, was it an injury, or did he just want to crack on with a bigger fight? Did he get a better offer on this card? I'd say probably the latter. But yeah, I see Madrimov actually win this one. I think he's going to have a bit too much for him. I think it's going to be an all-out war that's going to go down to heart, and I think Madrimov just got the edge. Point to note, Virgil Ortiz Jr. does have a reoccurring condition. I think it's something to do with his immune system that I know can impact him in fights, and if there's even the slightest impact on this occasion, albeit 2 to 5%, I think that will hinder him, and in a fight like this with such small margins, I think it will make him lose. But obviously he may find that it doesn't have that impact. I'm going to rattle through the last couple just because I've got to go myself. I'm actually waiting to go into my boxing class now. Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois, probably the fight of the night, arguably. My bets on this one, I think Dubois is going to have a bit too much athletically and going to be able to get the W. I can't see Joe Parker evading him for 12 rounds. I think ultimately he will get to him. Joe Parker, I think, will be up on the cards halfway through, and I think putting on that size that he's got will benefit him, but also slow him down a little bit. So whilst he's going to land bigger shots and potentially hurt Dubois, I think he will get caught in the end by Dubois' athleticism and power. He's not fighting a stagnant Wilder who'd been found out and mentally was suffering. He's not fighting a, let's say, lethargic Zhang who struggled to put his punches together as well because he couldn't catch up with him and he couldn't corner him. This is going to be Daniel Dubois. He's got power in both hands. He's confident. He's game. He's coming off the back of 3 back-to-back knockouts, and I think he will get to him eventually. I think possibly early. I'm going to go 1-6 and put my neck on the line. But I think he's going to lose the first 4 rounds comfortably, and then 5th or 6th he's going to get caught. And finally, in the main event, I think we need to look at the fact that the Saudis want this to be a trilogy fight, like all great rivalries. So I think ultimately we're going to see a 3rd fight. For that reason, I think Bivol's going to be a bit too elusive, be able to do a bit more of what he could do in his first fight and get a split decision. Alternatively, I can see it being a draw. But I don't think Bivol will get it. I think we're going to see Bivol age a little bit overnight. Beterbiev. I don't think Beterbiev will get it. I think we're going to see him age a little bit overnight. And I think if there's any sort of ambiguity on the scorecards, it's going to go towards Bivol or to a draw, just to get that 3rd fight, to get money in the pocket. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the card, and God bless.